hoopinghoops.com. Just a few quick things on this early 2021-2022 NBA season. The Lakers recently won their first game, but that was expected sooner or later. So I won't say anything more on that. What caught my eye was the exchange between Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard during the second loss of the regular season and the comments from Magic Johnson. I kept wondering, am I going to continue to hear Magic throughout the regular season or throughout the entire season? Sure, Magic is a great player, did a lot to help with the winning culture that is the Lakers. But Magic says a lot of nonsense when he speaks. I will save a conversation on Magic for a later date. I will just focus and touch on those latest comments that he made. Magic Johnson said that he never saw anything like what happened between Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard in his 42 years associated with the league. Now, I don't know if Magic eyes was closed or if he conveniently has a short memory. But I remember when Isaiah Thomas and Julius Randle got into it, when Steve Nash and Dwight Howard got pretty heated. Granted, no one touched each other, but if you go back as recent as 2016, Marcliffe Morris and what's this guy name? I think Archie Goodwin. You know, I think Marcliffe gave him a pretty good shove, knocking him over onto the bench. Now, I'm just going on memory, and I'm sure if I look back, there must be a number of cases I could find as well where persons put their hands on each other. So I don't know if Magic is saying, that things could escalate, you know, on other teams where, someone hands touch each other or shove each other or whatever it may be, but it's something that cannot happen on the Lakers. Maybe that's what he's saying. But, you know, I, like I said, Magic says a lot of nonsense. And with what we see happened, for example, with Marcliffe Morris, you know, I don't know that what happened between Dwight and AD was the tragedy Magic attempted to make it as. You know, forget that what we saw the players argue was, something we see players argue all the time, a miscoverage on a play. But like I said, um, I will speak on Magic some other time because, you know, as I said, he talks a lot of ball. The Brooklyn Nets are 1-2 so far on the season. Now I know it does not matter at this point because, of course, yes, they are out of playoff contention. We know that's going to change. We know they're going to be one of the top teams in the East. You know, um, what we need to watch is James Harden and Steve Nash. James Harden has been off to a slow start. Some people are hinting that it is the change of rules. But for me, what I would prefer to watch is the decline in the number of shots that he's taking, as well as the coaching change. Harden is used to taking well over 20 shots per game, and significantly more shots than anybody else on the team. That is at least when he was in Houston. Now that he knows he may not be the number one option offensively, and he has to be more careful, with the number of shots and the type of shots he's taking. Is it going to affect his performance? And for how long? Also, persons may have forgotten the D'Antoni effect. Persons who usually play under D'Antoni, under D'Antoni's system, usually score, a bit more than they naturally would. So I'm expecting, some decline in the scoring from Harden. Um, Now, the thing is, I know last year he looked more like himself, but don't forget that D'Antoni was the head assistant to Steve Nash and was in charge of offense. So we know how that probably would have positively affected James Harden. The second thing is we will really get to scrutinize Steve Nash as a head coach. As I said, last year he had, D'Antoni as a crutch to help him. And D'Antoni said this much when he took the job. This season, we are better able to judge Nash as a coach. We'll be able to see how the offense flows, if it flows as smoothly as last season. Another thing to watch is the Bulls and the Hornets. And these are two teams right now that are at the top of the Eastern Conference. We certainly don't expect them to remain there. We know teams like, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, the Nets, they're going to be somewhere at the top. But, it would be an interesting storyline if those two teams, the Bulls and the Hornets, made the playoffs and they faced each other. We have the two Ball brothers who would be going at each other. Each of them have claimed to be better than the other. And they even went as far as doing a little bit of trash talking. So the rivalry might be interesting. What I do not look forward to seeing is the father, his head resurfacing. But other than that, I wouldn't mind seeing, the two brothers going at each other. Jason Kidd is another one to watch closely. So far, he appears to be getting Porzingis more involved in the offense. The question is, will it be at the expense of Luka? I know this early, but Luka field goal percentage and his points per game has dropped just a bit. His assists and rebounds are a bit up, but it is early in the season, and that's why it is interesting to watch. Hoopinhoops.com